characters. Okay, so this is video 2 here. The only item pimping left to do is on our main man, Solis. So we get him a power ring to help boost his offense. Is perhaps not necessary, but it felt good. Now we do our unit scroll, show you what's what. And it's uniform 30s across the board until we get to Corporal, who's kind of a failure at that. And the money and arena status. And like I said, I didn't arena any more than was necessary because it was pretty much a waste of my time and yours. So we have Patty give some more money to Arthur so he can finish off repairing Whole City. And then we prepare to have this conversation between Arthur and Tinny, but I cocked it up. It was only a +1 luck. I considered here restarting, going back to that save I made in the middle of the arena business. But then I'm like, you know, screw it, I'll just press on. I don't need that extra luck anyway. So instead I just take out my forces. We have the C's group heading off to the right. It consists of Fee, Solis, Nana, Leaf, and of course Lean, whose dancing makes it all possible. So we just go ahead and we move everybody basically to their limits. Leaf rescues Lean. And make sure everybody's equipped the weapon I wanted to have up. Everything's good. So I'm showing off the range of the Silent Staff there, and the Sleep Staff here. You can see that anybody who can be affected by them is out of range. Claude Fee is ridiculously resistant, so nobody even cares what range she's in. Well, okay, maybe ridiculous resistance should be reserved for Seti, who's got like 29. She's only got like 22 or 23, which is still highly respectable. And then we go pop these Silence Mages over here. And we pick away at this other guy. And then it's mostly just a matter of getting units out on the field. The rule of thumb for this chapter is basically if you have a horse, you're okay. If you have a holy weapon, you're okay. If you use staves, you're okay. If you don't meet those categories, well, that sucks to be you. Well, I guess by horse I can also include the flyers, which are technically not horses. So, this is probably not necessary at all, but I had Corporal Plink at him, just because he still hadn't capped experience. So the enemy phase here I take a few risks. It's more dangerous than I was initially expecting, but everything works out, so no point crying over spilled milk. This is where the real danger came in, is when I saw Nana get to 1, and I'm like, wow, that was unexpected. So the reason I put Tinny out there was so that she could get silenced so Corporal can restore her, because it's free EXP. That was also why I had Arthur try to talk to her so he could enter the castle, because then he wouldn't be silenced and only Tinny would. But we saw how well that worked out in this version of the run. Anyway, back to the C's group. They're doing their, posturing and positioning. And we go ahead and we have Celeste get the big kill here. So we C's get that whole mess out of the way. Turn 2. Can't do any better than that. We go ahead, we hit Nana up with some heals. We have Nana send Lean back home. Absolutely vital to get that done this turn. Because there are still 2 other members of the party that need to go home next turn. So then we basically prepare the way for the onslaught of Great Knights that will be coming down on the enemy phase. By which I mean stuffing as many capable sword users in the zone as possible. I'm also actually bringing out a few of the people who are this chapter's benchwarmers. The reason for that, you'll have to wait a little bit longer to find out. But aside from that, it's just positioning and posturing here. So, Restore gives a ridiculous amount of experience. It's basically a warp equivalent, and with Elite means a free level. So I figured I could farm that as long as the Silence Mages were down here. Turns out it probably wasn't necessary at all, because I'll eventually switch Corporal to Warp Staff botting, which means he would have gained the levels anyway. But I wasn't entirely sure how long I was going to have Fee hold on to the Warp Staff. So, Ares is now in ambush range, which basically means that his crit on a stick will kill almost all of those guys with no problem. So we go ahead, Fee will warp Leaf home. Make good use of the return ring she picked up. Nana will return Celeste and do likewise, leaving Edda all alone and unguarded. Woo, dangerous. So we go ahead, we patch up Ares here. And then it's just a bit of maneuvering here. You see my Benchwarmer brigades start to position themselves, and maybe some of you may already have an idea of what I'm going to try to do with that. But the rest of you, I'll have to tease just a little longer. So we go ahead and we're punching a hole along the road here. Les pulls off a charge, which allows him to 7-hit KO that guy. And then just have Ari's punch through and go to the west. That's not absolutely necessary, but it was fun. So this is where I probably should have had Patty do all of her arena thing, because she'd already given the money from the first batch to Arthur, and he probably didn't need all of the money, but whatever. Also, she hit the 50 cap when she was selling like some of her other swords, like the Hero Sword and the Sleep Sword and the Thunder Sword. So that was money that didn't get actually given to anybody. But apparently I don't have that big of a money problem at all. I'm just overly anal about my resource distributions, apparently. Anyway, she's not going to be doing anything else, so she sells everything. Gives the rest to Leaf. He now has more than enough money to fund the rest of his rescuing habits. You can go sit Celise out there. I picked a random tree. It looked like it was fun to climb. So we go ahead, we have Leaf use the rescue staff on Celise. Now the rescue staff has a certain algorithm to where it will place the person. Thus the reason why I filled all of those gaps. Because Leaf and Celise need to be exactly where they are in order to complete this next leg of what I'm going to do. Because you see that you can't actually walk to where Celise is standing. And Leaf needs to move the full 10 ranges of the rescue staff to pull Celise just far enough so that he can go knock off this guy and seize Dozel. There's an awful lot of work to get the 3-turn here. But hey, it was kind of fun to do, so it took about... It actually took about as long to plan out these first 3 turns as it did to plan out the rest of the turns put together. So either that just means I was pretty bad at hitting on the right strategies early on, or I started getting lazy about halfway through. It may just be some combination of the two. Anyway, Corporal restores from there so that he can go inside the hut. And that's everybody. So we go ahead, we end the turn.